Welcome to the Arena with Rajnish, where we explore leadership lessons drawn from both the armed forces and the corporate world. In the last episode, I had shared with you how National Defense Academy, which is the cradle of military leadership in India, inculcates a culture of peer-to-peer accountability in the officer cadets who train at this academy. Post this episode, some of you got back to me and wrote that while the NDA story was very inspirational, the challenge that you face is how can you create this culture of peer-to-peer accountability in your teams? Today, I'm going to focus on some actions that a leader can take to create a culture of peer-to-peer accountability in his team, in his organization. When we talk of accountability, the first thought that strikes most of us is that it flows from top to bottom, from a leader to his team. It's about a leader holding his team accountable, a leader following up on progress of projects, a leader doing consequence management, and so on. But peer-to-peer accountability is different. It's horizontal. It's about team members holding each other responsible for their commitments, for their performance, and for the standards that are delivered. And peer-to-peer accountability is far more powerful. But the problem here is that it does not come automatically. It has to be carefully nurtured and cultivated. And the role of leader in creating this culture is pivotal. Today, let me share with you 4 practical ways in which a leader can create a culture of peer-to-peer accountability in his teams. To begin with, there needs to be a clarity of roles. Leadership expert Patrick Lencioni, in his path-breaking book, the famous book 5 Dysfunctions of a Team, has very beautifully put it when he says that the enemy of accountability is ambiguity. Unless everyone in your team knows who is doing what, you can't even think of introducing accountability. The next important thing for a leader to keep in mind is that you need to model accountability. You need to demonstrate accountability in the way you behave. You need to set a personal example. If you want members of your team to hold each other accountable, it is important that they see you demonstrating accountability day in and day out, consistently. And the best way for a leader to demonstrate accountability is by bringing his authentic self to the table. Actions like owning up to your mistakes in public, continuously seeking feedback from your team members and peers, and consistently following up on your own personal commitments. Imagine when a leader says that I could have done this better. This is where I messed up. What a powerful message he's sending to his team. He's sending a message to his team that here in our organization, it is okay to take responsibility for things that don't go well. And we can see that the seeds of accountability are sown in the actions that the leader demonstrates and not the instructions that he gives. The next thing that a leader must keep in mind is that he needs to first create a culture, an environment of trust before he can think of following up on accountability. Because trust is the soil on which the tree of accountability grows. People are not going to question each other, challenge each other, if they fear judgment and reprisals. This is where path-breaking work of Amy Edmondson on creating a psychologically safe working space becomes very relevant. A space where team members can speak up, a space where team members can own up, challenge each other, and also give honest feedback. Recently, I was coaching a leader who made a very subtle shift in the way he conducted his monthly review meetings. He introduced the ritual of starting his meetings with 2 questions. What did we learn last month? What could we have done better? No blame here, no defensiveness, just pure reflection. And over a period of time, when this ritual was followed continuously, his team members started feeling confident to question each other, to discuss where the team has missed the targets, and to support each other to grow more. And coming on to the 4th and a very important aspect that a leader needs to keep in mind is to create that shift in his team members and departments from my goal, my department, my team to our goal, our company, our success. In my personal experience, I have seen that departments tend to blame the other department for things that don't go well. Production blames supply chain, sales blames production, and so on. When I joined as business head at JK Cement, the first thing that I focused on was to create interdepartmental synergies. When my functional heads started understanding the context and the challenges of the other functions, a shift happened. The tone of the company changed from my scorecard, personal success to collective wins. And one can actually say that accountability stops at the walls of departments. And high performing teams have actually understood that silos don't bring in ownership. And therefore, your job as a leader is to connect the dots and make sure that every member of your team is part of that one big goal of the organization. And you can do this by having shared goals across departments, by encouraging and rewarding those individuals and departments who are not only working at their own goals, but are also supporting other departments. And lastly, by ensuring that peer-to-peer accountability and review gains importance in your organization and not just the top-line review. Such a culture brings in peer-to-peer accountability, and that is peer-to-peer accountability in action, where team members stand up and say, I do not want to let down my organization. And to summarize, I would like to say that as leaders, please do not try to command peer-to-peer accountability. Instead, focus on the conditions which create an environment and a culture where peer-to-peer accountability thrives. And you can do this by following 4 simple steps. Step 1, infuse clarity of roles. Step 2, demonstrate personally accountability. Set an example for your teams. Step 3, first build trust, then start challenging each other. And step 4, change the definition of success to one that honors collective wins rather than individual brilliance. The question for you to reflect today is that in your teams, are your team members only accountable upwards to you, or are they also accountable sidewards to each other? Because when accountability is peer-driven, a leader really does not need to follow up. Results happen naturally, and I may say results start happening magically. This is Rajnish signing off from the arena where we empower leaders and transform futures. Until we meet next time, stay accountable to each other. Bye bye. Jai Hind.